Hey, Math 6, it's Mr. Vargas here helping you out with homework 8.3, Functions and Equalities. This is page 599 from your course textbook. Before we get started, something I really want to talk about is this idea that functions and equations, let me spell that correctly, are a lot alike. Okay, so functions, they look a lot like equations. They do have some things in common, like an equal sign, rules, letters, numbers, all that good stuff. Two important words here for today. We've got our independent variable and our dependent variable. So now we're going to start looking at problems where we have two variables. One that is going to be called an independent variable and one that is a dependent variable. If you remember from other lessons, when we talk about an independent variable, it is also our input. What we put into the function, the number that we take and we replace it into the variable, that's the independent variable. The dependent variable is our output, what comes out of the function. And we'll use a letter to kind of hold that place for what will come out of the function. So once again, the function machine takes an input, throws it into the machine, and then an output. Something comes out of the machine. Alright, so independent variable is just another word for input. Dependent variable is another word for output. Usually in math, our inputs, we use the letter X to represent our inputs, and we use Y. That's pretty standard to have X, Y as our input and outputs. X being input, Y being output. Alright, let's look at some examples from homework. Problem number 1 says write an equation to represent this function table. So let me draw the table really quick. Okay, input there, output there. This is going to be your X and your Y. And here are the numbers. 1, 6, 2, 12, 3, 18, 4, 24, and 5, 30. So this is actually a geometric sequence because as we're increasing 1 here, we're increasing 6 here. Or you can think of it as we're multiplying by 6, right? 1 times 6 makes 6, 2 times 6 makes 12, 3 times 6 makes 18, 4 times 6 makes 24, 5 times 6 makes 30. So when we want to write an equation to represent this function, we're going to have to use our X and our Y. So Y equals, and then X. So essentially you're trying to figure out what am I doing to my X to get my Y. How is this changing from here to here? Well, actually you're just taking your input and you're multiplying it by 6 to get your new output. So this would be your equation right here. Y equals 6x. And you can go ahead and try that out. What happens if I take my x and I put 3 instead? What's 6 times 3? Well, that gets me 18, which is representing my y here. If I replace my x with 4, 6 times 4 makes 24. Sure enough, that's good to go. Alright, let's try number 3. Graph the equation. Okay. So we have an equation here, and usually I like to set up a function table to help me determine my coordinate points that I'm going to graph. So my rule here is x plus 4, and I pick really easy numbers for my x's. And this is the part where you get to pick. So I usually like to start out with 0, 1, and 2, and maybe 3. And then I take those numbers and I plug them into my rule and see what y value, or what output, what dependent variable corresponds to my input. So here I'm going to do 0 plus 4, and sure enough that gets me 4. Here I will do 1 plus 4, and that will get me 5. Here I'll do 2 plus 4, and that gets me 6. And then it'll be 3 plus 4 to make 7. So once again, I was just replacing my x's in the rule, and that would get me some value y. So here are your ordered pairs. You've got 0, 4, 1, 5, 2, 6, and 3, 7. Okay, let's try graphing those points on the coordinate plane. I'm going to zoom in really quick. X, Y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once again, these graphs don't need to be perfect, but on your homework assignment it should be, because they have the coordinate grid there for you. So let's see, the first point that we wanted to graph was 0, 4. 0, 4, then 1, 5, then 2, 6, then 3, 7. So let's start out with just 0, 4. So 0 means we're not going to move left or right anything, we're just going to stay here, but then we're going to go up 4. So your point would be on 0, 4, that's an easy one. Okay, the next point is going to be 1, 5. So I move over 1, go up 5, and that point is right there, 1, 5. Next one was 2, 6. And the one after that was 3, 7. So you can start to see this line, this linear pattern start to develop. Okay, so that is graphing a function. And the name of that function is y equals x plus 4. Or equation. Let's go ahead and try number 6. And that'll be it for this video. So number 6, the graph shows the charges for a health club in a month. Make a function table for the input-output values. Write an equation that can be used to find the total charge y for the number of x classes. So this is some pretty heavy algebra stuff, but we can definitely do it. So let me make that function table, input, output, and then this is the x, this is the y. Alright, and then I'm going to draw their graph really quick. Over here, this is the graph they give you. Just doing my best. 1, 2. Well, thank you, Teddy. Alright, now that Teddy's done, I can keep going. Let's see. This is your x, and this is your y. So this is 30, 35, 40, 50. So the first point that you see on the graph is actually 0, 30. It's right there. And so I'll write that's 0, 30. Okay, and the second point they have is 135. So that's 1, 1,35. And then the next point they have is 2, 40. So you can see that this is increasing by $5 every month, it looks like. So this is 2, 40. And that last point is 3, 45, which looks right about there. Okay, so the way to interpret this graph is that when you first start out at a health club, you have to pay an initial fee, right? When you're joining a new gym, they'll charge you an upfront fee. So at point 0, or for 0 months, you haven't even started working out yet, you have to pay $30 right off the bat. And then if you take one class, your total price goes up $5 to $35 because each class costs $5 additional. So then for 2 classes, you're going to have to pay a total of $40 because you're paying that 30 plus 2 classes is 10 because each class is $5. So 2, 40, and then 3, 45. So the initial $30 plus $15 for 3 classes. All right, so let's write an equation. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and input our information. So when we first join the gym, and we've taken 0 classes, that's going to cost us $30. When we take 1 class, our total goes up to $35. When we take 2 classes, our total goes up to $40. And when we take 3 classes, our total goes up to $45. So here your equation would actually look something like this. Y equals, and Y is your output, remember, output, output. Y equals your input X times 5. 5 times your input, because you're paying $5 for each class, plus that initial $30 that you had to pay up front. So here's your equation. All right. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.